give you an understanding about how.
I don't know, the struggle is. I think that's the point of it, is that it's more about passing on like the history, especially the parts that you won't learn otherwise. Because also, like, a lot of the time it's just people sharing stories about their lives, which,
yeah,
of course, being black,
to come together in blackness, right?
Exactly. But also, like, if people are talking about their lives and you have like a lot of ages there, especially in Atlanta, so somebody was marching in the civil rights movement, somebody like integrated a school, the Great Migration was going on this whole time. There's a lot of entertainers and like these artists and, you know, like, just black life happening. I feel like
when I was talking to Eric about it, I was like, it's like an American holiday, especially for those who want to honor Black America, right? Like, that's how I pitched it, just kind of learned it.
exactly.
But I'm like, so you think just like repeating that every year is important?
I think if you do it like continuously 18 years and like for most of the first 9 or 10 you like actually do every night and go and, I don't know, hear whoever's talking, because it'll literally be like whatever scholar from Morehouse is invited or something like that. So, like, there's a lot of, I don't know, black luminaries or whatever that like are doing Kwanzaa in Atlanta. I don't know if it's an age thing or it's like a whatever the like last vestiges of like separatists in Atlanta are or something like that. But like, because I feel like it was a pretty strong condition within my mom's like wider social circle.
Yeah.
Like, we'd go to people's houses and it would be like completely different sets of people, like a few like core, but it's like, so like lots of people, it's just Kwanzaa, it's the week of Sundays, we visiting, we eating.
It's the week of Sundays?
Yeah.
Talk about that. What's that?
Oh gosh, so during slavery, like, obviously, like, on Christmas, you're working, because, you know, massa gotta have Christmas. So, but then you get the week off, because also, like, yo, what is really happening in December? Like, there's no planting happening. Like, it's done. Everything's done. Like, you traditionally, like, most places, people would have that time off, and, like, often, like, they'd go and visit their family that was wherever the hell. It was super common for people to, like, have their wife and kids be on like 2 or 3 separate places, and then they spend like their whole free week just traveling between the 2 places to see them like 1 of 3 times that year. I don't know, there was all this elaborate like note passing sort of with like, okay, so the dudes that are tradesmen, right, they get to go everywhere, or they're like, you know, gathering lumber dudes, whatever, right? If they have do piecework, they're just out here. So they were constantly like carrying messages like, oh yeah, can you tell my husband over on the such and such place that like I need to see him by da 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 da, and like, it's really, yeah, it was really interesting. I got all this from like the detail about it from this book here, The Cotton Kingdom, which is like, oh boy, what is the Cotton Kingdom? Yeah, on the cover is like a quote by Malcolm X, which is, "This book opened my eyes to the horror suffered when the slave was landed in the United States." And the title is The Cotton Kingdom, A Traveler's Observations on Cotton and Slavery in the American Slave States, Friedrich Olmsted. And it was basically originally commissioned by the New York Times. Yeah, so he was like a whole naturalist. I'm like, God, I'm kind of a wanderer. And he did this similar project in England, in Walks and Talks of an American Farmer in England. And he basically like walked all over England and like asked people, okay, how are you guys living? Like, how productive is your land? How much does it cost to live? Like, you know, it was like I don't know, among the earliest ethnographies, right? But he was basically hired to do the same project in the South between 1853 to 1861, which is basically the decade preceding the Civil War. And like his secret like project was also, so like economically speaking, practical implication wise, what if we did free the slaves? Like, what if we did? What would happen? So that was like kind of his like whole rationale, like as he was going along. So he would go talk to anybody, the porter, the like enslaved people, not enslaved people, free people that were married to enslaved people. He was here passing notes between people, which he documents a couple of times. And like it's really beautiful because he like goes through every state and like sort of paints a picture of what like day-to-day life was like at that time, which like obviously slavery's happening, but like it also is like this glimpse into like our ancestors' day-to-day lives, which like weren't like these horrible like shit pit things. It was just like, yeah, I mean slavery, but like I got a husband, I need to talk to him, I'm gonna just like make sure I can like pass a message when I need to, so then the next time we're both off, he knows where I am because I won't be where I'm really at. Like, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, but we got life though. you know, and like, and runaway fugitive slaves were part of that also, like, because like multiple times he kind of like came upon people. He was like, I thought this guy might have been a runaway, but I was minding my business, so I ain't say, I just kind of asked him for directions and kept it moving, you know. And like I think that's like, I don't know, the like our ideas about like what slavery was and like the reality of what the country was early on, I think is important for all of us to know. Anyway, so I read The Cotton Kingdom during quarantine, but at the time I was like also reflecting a lot on my childhood and my education and this and that. And I feel like it colored in a bunch of like what I already knew from like, I don't know, like elders' oral history about growing up in like South Carolina and South Georgia and Tennessee and Alabama. Yeah, our assistant cameraman has like opinions. So I think it was kind of yeah. I feel like the inheritance of the struggle like was very much like encapsulated in Kwanzaa for me, because I feel like reading this book was more like, wow, like I love coloring the rest of that in, because like I knew like whatever was in there, like, you know, whatever, it's like, oh yes, it was all whips and chains all the time and everyone ran, and then they put dogs on them, and it's like, okay, yeah, you know that, you know, like, but like also your life, bro, like your great 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 grandparents like had lives, they had relationships, they had friends, they had children, right? And like, yes, this, you know, they had this tragic hegemonic thing kind of harshing their whole life, but like, you know, we still had life, which I think is the point of Kujichagulia, which is self-determination. Like, we made our culture. Because also, like, when we first got here, when they first brought our ancestors here, they, like, split people up from those who spoke the same language. They made sure that no one went and spoke the same language. And still, we have, like, our own, like, distinct language. Like, grammar, structure, everything. Like, that doesn't happen unless we decided that we are our people. And I think that's what Quanzaa about.